Welcome to the Alex Ford Podcast, where we bring you the latest strategies to build a 6 or 7-figure online business and quit your 9-to-5 job. You'll hear from the best online entrepreneurs, the top marketers, and the rising stars who are making it happen right now. Every week, you'll get actionable steps to turn your digital marketing dream into a profitable and rewarding full-time career. Here's your host, entrepreneur, world-class trainer, and marketing strategist, Alex Ford.
The following is a conversation with my friend and now business partner, Drew Kairos. Drew is a seasoned vet in the online business space. He's mentored thousands of students, including some of the top names you see online today. So we talk a little bit about our journeys, the current political and economic landscape, and how it could impact your income for better or worse. We discuss Bitcoin hitting $100,000 and what it means for you, even if you're not into crypto, plus the future of AI, whether it's coming for your job, and what you can do to secure your financial future starting today. So it's really insightful chat, and I think it's going to help you to see what lies ahead and how you can get ready for the future. Enjoy the conversation.
Shot.
Yeah.
And my phone's like, link copied. So I take a screenshot of the screen and it copies the link that's shown on the screen. I don't have to highlight the link or find it or anything.
Wow, that's cool.
I didn't know it even did that until it happened.
I love how everything's getting more integrated these days too.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it's too much though. It's just too many features, too much.
I don't even understand how they get some things to like talk to each other too. So yeah. I'll give you another weird example here. If I open the media on my Chrome, it shows me, like, we usually will play a YouTube video for the dogs downstairs, like a dog music type of thing.
Yeah.
And I can see what's playing on the TV downstairs, even though that account is logged in with my wife's YouTube and not mine.
Wow.
So like, cool. I can pause the video, I can skip through ads and stuff. It's crazy.
So you can mess with your wife.
Mm-hmm.
Just like pause it. What the heck?
Yep.
Play. Pause it. What the heck? Play. Skip. Next video. Back. Should do that.
Then I would get called down. There's something wrong with our internet. It keeps skipping.
So, hey, did you see that? What was it? The Hawk Tour girl.
Oh yeah.
She released her crypto.
Yep.
Yeah. Man, it's crazy
crypto
stuff.
Right now is nuts. Bitcoin breaking 100K.
Yeah.
Do you have any Bitcoin?
No, I don't. I stopped doing Bitcoin long ago. I'll tell you about it in a sec. But this Hawk Tour girl, man, like, she released her like a meme coin, and within minutes it hit $500 million. And then literally within minutes after that, it crashed down to 20 million. And so many people lost a lot of money in that, a lot. And so
I believe that.
Now there's that huge thing where, well, there's a lawyer somewhere in the States who's trying to get people that participated in it to do some sort of lawsuit, maybe class action lawsuit. Because man, for some reason you go up to 500 million, $500 million, right? To put it into context. And then back to 20 million, it's like, dang, so crazy. But that's kind of
some crazy swings right there.
I think that's a crazy example of what happens in crypto. But those
meme coins are always like that, though. They're super unpredictable.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, but I think that's a representation generally of the way crypto works. Maybe not at those high levels, but everything's just so volatile, like just so ups and downs and unpredictable, and that's. So I did it a few years back. I put 10 grand into just a few coins, and it did pretty good. Like, sometimes when things are going up, we're doing great, but then things get unstable, and I'm not a pro at that sort of stuff. I understand it a bit, especially coming from like stock market, share market, whatever people call it. And but it was like the most stressful experience I've ever had in any sort of type of business, investing, money making, like literally, because I was constantly there on the phone, like checking it all the time,
just
and
watching it moved a dollar.
Yeah, things will go down and things will go up, but there's such huge swings that in the end I had to pull out, and I lost probably about $3,000, just under that. It wasn't a lot, like it was just,
that is to some people. It's still, I mean, it's an expensive lesson.
Very expensive,
I suppose.
But I pulled out, and then I was like, and because I have my business too. During that time, I couldn't even focus on my business, because you go to business, create content, whatever, and you've got this thing, and it wasn't a lot of money, but
you're just always looking at the charts.
Yeah, but you don't want to lose $10,000, right? Regardless, but
absolutely.
Your head's going to, you're constantly in the back of your subconscious mind, just thinking about the crypto, where is that, and literally, although I would say I lost those $3,000, I probably lost more in that process because I didn't make as many sales in my business because I couldn't be marketing because I was so focused. And then your head wants to go. It's almost like a shiny object syndrome, right? Where your head just wants to go to learn more about it. So I start learning about charts. I start reading the charts, learn a bit about that. Bought a couple of courses, got into like a mentorship program, and I'm like going through all the training. And I'd say I lost, a few $1,000s extra because of the work I didn't do in my business. And that's why I think it's that's common in crypto, right? But it's also
absolutely any type of day trading. You'll see that a lot with any type of trading. Like I did futures trading.
Yeah.
Kind of similar, where like I learned from this guy. It was actually somebody that I had as a client. I built a website for him. I redesigned his whole digital course where he was teaching people how to trade online.
Yeah.
But this dude was like, he was on the floor in Chicago, and like he was an actual day trader, and then he got into working for himself. He created a hedge fund, started training people. And he would just like wave these big things. Like I have this as like my motivation, my fake money stack right here.
That's awesome.
So this dude would make like 50 grand in, I don't know, less than an hour. We'd trade like 9 to 10 every day and be done.
Yeah.
But he always traded oil. And when you're trading oil, it's like these tiny little moves can be huge amounts of money, where like a 10-cent jump in the price could be $100.
Yeah.
Or $1,000, depending on how many contracts you have. But that was the thing where he tried to teach everybody to do that. And it was so, I don't know if I can swear on this, but just so fucking stressful to be like watching the price on oil. And sometimes it would do, like there were certain days and times of days where it would jump a couple dollars at a time. And that's like, it jumps up in $2,000. You're done in 2 seconds. Like you either make it or you lose it. Yeah. If you picked it right, you win. If you don't, you lose. And I like went all in on it, did his training, bought other courses and everything. And I like blew up my first account. I put 10 grand in to trade with, lost all of it.
You did what I avoided.
Yep. I think I maybe got out with like 2 grand left in my account, where I just like closed it. But it was one of those things where it's almost like a high of chasing dollars, where you see how easy it is to make money sometimes, or how hard it is. And it's just not, I mean, obviously not a healthy headspace to be in if you're going to actually do that sustainably.
Yeah.
But it was one of those things where I would be supposed to be working, and I would have like a chart open on another screen, and I keep glancing over at it like, am I going to hit the take profit? Is it going to drop? What's going to happen?
Oh my God. So it's funny how like this is also applicable to business as well, right? Because so many people come into an online business, and like for me, online business is just so much simpler for people to grow their business, to just make an income.
Absolutely.
It's simpler. I mean, everyone works, right? You go to a job, you learn skills, you do that work, you earn a paycheck. Well, it's the same thing with a business. You go to a business, you learn some skills, you do your job in your business, and if you do it consistently enough and continue to get better and have the right information and mentorship, you can make money. Right. But there's always
no
going to be
real risk of loss.
not a huge risk of loss. But there's always going to be ups and downs, right? There's going to be times when things are going to get tough. You're going to get challenging. You're going to have to, ask questions, figure things out. But it's not those huge highs. Whereas like with investing, it's almost, well, it doesn't have to be, but for a lot of people, it's like the lottery, right? The lottery where it's just like or gambling, right? You're putting in a lot of money.
Oh yeah, yeah, exactly.
You're going to make some wins, or initially things are going to go up, but in the long run, you're going to lose way more than what you made. But then if people aren't smart enough, they're just going to keep going, thinking they're going to make a lot, they're going to lose it, but they never truly learned how to do that thing. Always coming down to skill sets.
I feel like I've seen people do that with paid ads.
Oh yeah.
Where they're like, I started at $20 a day and I wasted $400 and made nothing. Maybe I just need to spend more money. And you're like, no.
Or they'll be like
chasing what some random person on Instagram told you.
Yeah. And then they'll be like, yeah, exactly. Or this other guru told me to just spend more money and it'll work.
Or Facebook recommended it. They always, like, Meta's always going to be like, hey, you'll have better results if you spend more money.
Yeah, exactly. No, but I mean, like, trainers in the industry, too, actual trainers in the industry, just spend more money. It's just like, well, okay. Crazy.
You just need to spend more and you'll reach more people.
Yeah. So, hey, a lot has changed, man, in the last 3 weeks. I know something big, the elections just happened in the US, right? Trump won, Harris lost. This don't want to have a political conversation here about, who's right, who's wrong, and, who's good, who's bad, all that stuff going on in the industry. But a big change has happened. And I think it's worth having a conversation about that because, the way it's going to
change a lot of things moving forward for sure.
It is, right? Some people on the left are going to hate Trump, right? Some people and whatever is coming, and they're going to feel at the effect of it, like what's going to happen to the economy. I've heard both sides of the argument. Things are going to go bad. His tariffs is going to just ruin everything. Then people on the right, they're like, oh, this is great. He's going to fix the economy. He's a business owner. He's going to make things great again, right? But anyone like that's listening, I'd recommend just for the next few moments, put the political conversation aside, because Drew, I want you to share this first before I share it. Like, what's your take, man, for 2025 in terms of, not in terms of like who's going to fix the economy or not, right? Like, is Trump or whatever? I mean, he's already won. But do you believe that whoever is in power, whoever is the president, whatever is the administration, are they going to make an impact? Can they make an impact to people's income?
I do. I mean, definitely to an extent, but at the same time, the government isn't run by one person.
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing. When a president gets into office, it's basically like 5,000 people that are running the government with that one person. So I don't think there's any one person that could make or break the economy or anything like that. Obviously, we have seen a lot of inflation over the last 4 years under the current regime. I guess it would be current, even though they're on the way out. So that can make a big difference with a lot of people. Things are costing 40-50% more than they did 4 years ago. I don't know if that's going to change or not. I have no idea. We can kind of speculate that it might, but it's possible with the tariffs it could even go the other way. You might see some things getting more expensive and some things getting less expensive.
Totally.
More incentives for like keeping business here, I think, is one of the biggest things that I've noticed.
Yeah, definitely.
It's a lot of incentive to do the manufacturing.
So I agree with that. I mean, we could start getting into a political conversation here, but don't want to go there. This kind of
towing the line,
the stage for the conversation, right? So absolutely, man. Like things could go both ways. I've got my beliefs. I think, yeah, some things are going to go great, some not. Maybe potentially things might improve a lot, because of business experience, leadership experience. But what I wanted to bring this back to is like, there's still people out there that are fearful of, this next administration that are going to take power. And then you've got the other side that are excited, right? The people that are scared, they're like, man, like I'm hardly not earning much money, and things have gone up in price, like you said. So inflation, how the heck am I going to live if
prices go up anymore?
Screws things up, right? And then the other side, of course, is like, things are going to improve, inflation's going to go down, and then we're going to be okay. But here's why I'm bringing up this conversation. Like there are two types of economy that people can have, right? They can tap into. There is like a country's economy, the global economy, right? And that is not in our control, right?
Right.
There's lots of powers across the world, lots of people, leadership and everything that can impact that. We have zero control. But there's one economy that we can control, and that is your own personal economy.
Personal economy. Yeah.
Exactly. Our own personal economy. And this is one of the things that, I learned early on when I got into business. And I got into online business 2011. So it wasn't too long after because it was 2007 was the GFC, right? Where everything just crashed and there was there's blood on the streets and everything. And it took quite a few years to recover. And I'll never forget, like when I got into online business, it was a network marketing company, online based, but I had family members and friends tell me, oh, this isn't going to work. No one's buying, no one's spending money. The economy is not good, right? You got started in a similar time. You've been doing this over 10, 13 years yourself. And that was a big thing, right? And I remember, people would be like, people aren't going to buy from you. People are holding on to their money, right? They're not going to buy anything. And I proved them wrong. Not that I had to prove them wrong. I don't need people's validation, but I proved that belief wrong because I went out there and by learning skills, by taking action, I was able to make some of the most money I'd ever made in my entire life in a single day, in a single week, in a single month. Right? I think it was 2012.
Sometimes just that, like, proving people wrong could be one of the biggest motivators too. Obviously, It shouldn't be the core motivator, is all like extrinsic, but it can be a huge motivator. I obviously dealt with similar things, but I don't want to cut you off. Let me that's jump back in here. So you were saying you proved everybody wrong, made more.
Proved everyone wrong. So I was saying like 2012, I think it was, made my first $20,000 in a day. And I was like even now I've made more than that. Right. So I've had, $100,000 in 24-hour launch and, I've made more in a month, but that feeling when you make that first amount, it's never the same again. Cause it's like, It breaks this belief that, because even though like I had all these people, right? Oh, the economy's not good. People aren't going to buy from you. There's still that thing in the back of your head that until you actually break through and create those results, that there's still something there. Right. So when that's like broken, just smashed, like, anyways, it's incredible. And
one of those like you got to see it to believe it type of things. We can all pretend that it's real and that it can happen to us, but it doesn't actually feel that way until you see it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but even then, you've got people that are like, you got to see it to believe it. But for me, even then, I learned that you had to get to the point where you have to believe it in order to see it.
Where I love to see it to believe it, people. I always make them explain Wi-Fi.
Yeah, exactly. That's a good one. How does Wi-Fi look?
Right. You'll heavily rely on Wi-Fi without ever being able to see it.
Exactly. But, you got to have a belief. You have to have a certain belief in Wi-Fi. And, if you don't believe that it works, you're not going to go buy a Wi-Fi router. You're right. You're going to be plugging everything into your computer with the Ethernet cable. But, you have to believe things in order to see it. And that's kind of how I got there, regardless of what was happening in the economy. Because I decided to choose that my personal economy was not going to be dictated by external influences, whereas most people do. And that's where they're never able to break through. I mean, Drew, you've coached over 10,000 students, right? Throughout your, coaching career in this online business, man. I mean, you've seen it. And out of, those 10,000, how many people do you think come into, collectively, what's the percentage of people that you feel are at the effect of external influences?
You're making me do math. No, if we just kind of ballpark it, I would say it's still probably the majority.
Yeah.
Most people are, it's how we're conditioned, not just our human being operating systems, but basically the way society conditions us. We're supposed to look for other people for validation or for direction. That starts in schooling, and it's kind of reinforced with medicine and other things where you're like, whatever you think is wrong, you got to pay the professional who actually knows better than you, even if they don't. Right. So everybody kind of plays into that. And it's a huge shift mentally to go from that like employee mindset where you're told what to do, when to do it, how to do it, what's acceptable, what's not acceptable, and kind of shifting into that entrepreneurial mindset where there are no rules. You could work an hour a day if you want to. You could work 15 hours a day if you want to. Your income is completely dependent on you, And obviously we still have to deal with other regulations that are out of our control, like taxes or expenses on things, whatever. But if you have that freedom and that control to just like believe you can make more money and kind of just go through the motions, like you have to believe it's going to happen before you're going to take those next steps. Otherwise you're just kind of on a treadmill, right?
Yeah.
Where you have no belief or no end goal. You're just going through the motions because somebody told you to do it. Which still can work, but it's definitely not as effective as if your mind and heart are in it.
Yeah, totally. But if the wrong government comes into power, then you're screwed. Everything's just not going to work, right? Just messy. No, that's
exactly. Then you might as well just leave the country.
Yeah. Get on that next flight with all those celebrities. That, by the way,
yeah, right.
Following through on their decision to leave the country. But yeah, man, like, so you're like, there's that global economy, there's a personal economy, and I'm sure you've experienced it. I've experienced that. If you're really
even
committed
just
to
COVID, dude, this is a great example too. The whole like COVID everything, since
what do you mean?
You and I probably weren't that affected by it since we were both working from home for way longer than this thing. This was what 2020 is when it started.
Yeah.
I had already been working online for 7 years at that point. So my income went up. Everybody else was starting to discover this whole personal economy where they're like, oh, I don't need to rely on a job. If my company is shut down, I don't lose all of my income. I can get online and make money for myself. I think that was one of the biggest catalysts for this type of work, but it's almost old news for us,
Do there was an awakening that happened during the COVID because of what you just said? Like, yeah, for us, it was old news. And then all of a sudden, I don't know if you ever saw it, but if you go on Google Trends, you can search up work from home. And then Google Trends will tell you like how many people are searching specifically, like for a specific keyword. And you see the graph up, down, whatever that trend is. And for the 2020-21 period, the term work from home there was a huge spike up, right? It's gone down now, but it's like that told us that, you know, in that period, because everyone had to go home, they couldn't work at their jobs. Everyone was just like, how can I work from home? How can I, by looking for options? And there was an awakening there where all of a sudden this term work from home, you heard it everywhere. You heard it in mainstream news. You heard it online.
Remote work became much more acceptable.
Remote work, yeah, absolutely. And then for us, you know, we'd been doing that for me almost a decade at that point, right? It was old news. Whereas back then when I got started, people didn't understand it. You know, they think it was some scam or just, you know, all these things. I had friends that would tell me just the concept of work from home didn't make sense, right? But after then, people found things. It
doesn't make sense until you've done it.
Yeah, exactly. And a lot of people did it for their jobs, right? It's like, okay, go home, you can work from there, you can earn their income. And then people started thinking, okay, I'm working at home, comfort of my home, around my family, got some flexibility here. I'm still getting my paycheck, might not be the best paycheck ever, but why don't I do this for myself? Maybe with my own business, maybe selling stuff online, maybe making, you know, sales or commissions if I'm selling other people's products, and then I don't have to have a boss. I'm going to be doing exactly the same thing I'm doing now, except I'm doing it for myself from home, right?
There you go.
And that's where people started going online and looking at these options, right? And I think the whole work from home phase has kind of died out a little bit since then. You've had people like Elon Musk even saying that, you know, working from home is unethical. You know, he said that out because, you know, that applies to companies. Like if you know, his company SpaceX or Tesla, everyone started working from home. Yeah, a company like that, the productivity of people will probably go through the floor because there's a certain level of, you know, like team playing and communication with other people and focus. Absolutely get that. And, you know, in that sort of environment, I agree. Work from home can be unethical. But when you're starting your own business where you're your own boss, it's totally doable to do from home now. And, you know, building your own personal economy is now, it's not just a theory or a dream. It's something anyone can do, anyone can create, and actually take control of their lives while being at home, right? It's just amazing.
It's life-changing. Once you take that leap, it's incredible. That's something I worked all of the jobs when I'll give you a little bit of background here. So like I worked all of the jobs trying to figure out what I wanted to do with my life. Even though like I had gone to school for one specific thing, I still wanted to try out all of these different things while I was going through it. And it basically, all of the other jobs that I had just felt so limiting. You know, you come online and you just still have all of this freedom to work whenever you want, to promote whenever you want, to present yourself however you want, and still make money with it. You know, it could be speaking, it could be writing, it could be recording videos, it could be a combination of any of those things. You could even just do something like data entry or coding or whatever that has nothing to do with people, if you're not a people person. But it is mind-blowing what the capabilities are now, and it's continuing to expand. It's not like it's going away. You know, this influx of AI and everything nowadays really just makes it easier. It shouldn't scare people away. It's actually making it easier for you to cut through the noise.
So
or
you
distinguish
just said
yourself, I suppose.
about AI.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people have fear that they're going to be replaced in their jobs by AI. And
right.
you know, I'm seeing it, right? So I mean, there's a lot of things that have come out recently in the last 3 weeks, actually 2 weeks. So again, you know, Tesla just brought out their Optimus robot that you can buy, I think, for 40K.
Oh yeah, that thing gives me iRobot vibes for sure.
Yeah. I truly believe that in maybe 10 to 15 years, maybe 15 to 20, everyone is going to have a robot at their home in the same way that everyone buys a car. It's just going to be a common thing, right? Because, as I was talking to my wife about it, and it's like, babe, we can get a robot. It'll do anything in your house. And we just moved into a new house as well recently. And, in our previous house, we didn't have any lawn. And my wife, and I've never known anything about lawn. And we moved to a house with lawn, and now I've got to figure out how to do it, and I don't enjoy it. And my wife's like, oh, I know why you want one. You want one because you wanted to do all the lawn for me. I'm like, yes. But also, it can help you to do like or your laundry.
You could also do the dishes or fold the laundry or whatever.
Right? Yeah. And even scary, if you see the ad for it, for the robot, it's like, one of the sales messages, what was it? And it'll even, babysit your children or something. And it'll even be a teacher. It'll teach your children. It's just like, oh man, all right. So what are we going to be exiting parenting now in the future and handing it over to a robot to do? It's crazy.
No kidding.
Hey, now
it is funny the way technology is right now. I feel like a lot of it's almost like they're trying to replace the wrong things.
Yeah.
It's generating art, right? So any creative people that want time to generate art are like, I don't want this to do it for me. I want you to do the chores and all of these other tasks that are sucking away from my time and enjoyment so I can do what I enjoy, which would be writing or creating art or whatever, Kind of like what you were saying with this. If your robot is doing your parenting for you, then what are you spending your time doing?
Exactly. No, I totally get that.
It's almost like backwards priorities.
Yeah. So with that though, it's like a lot of people they are afraid that, AI, robots, machinery is going to take over everything. It's going to take over my job. Obviously, the priorities can be wrong there with what, but in general, people are going to be
that might be true with some people, some positions anyway.
It would be. I agree. I mean, even at some of that grocery stores now, there is not really any, I don't know what you call
look at self-checkout, right?
Yeah, that's the one. Self-checkout.
That's not even a robot. It's just self-checkout. Just like you could have, I don't even know when this happened, but secretaries kind of stopped becoming a thing because everybody had an automated answering service. Yeah. Press 1 for billing, press 2 for sales. You don't need a person to do that anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
These types of things they do happen all the time. And it's usually not the end of the world like we all think it's going to be. It's just a kind of pivoting or shifting point for people that work in those professions.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's definitely something to, especially right now, like, I feel like we are on the cusp of a lot of these huge changes. Like you were saying, everybody could have a robot. They're going to start being everywhere. Maybe they're going to serve you food. I don't know. There's all kinds of things that they could do. But if you feel like that's a risk for your income, why not try to diversify a little bit?
I was just going to ask you that question because you said about pivoting, right? The people that are
absolutely
going to lose their jobs or they're afraid of AI. It's just like, okay, maybe it's time to pivot. So like, how do you see, Drew, if you have people that are afraid, let's say they're, I don't know, I reckon banks one day might potentially disappear, right? So if someone's like a banker and, everything's going online now. I even went when we were getting our new house, had to go to the bank, open up some, that wasn't business accounts. I had to open some business bank accounts, went there. And for the first time ever, the lady goes, oh, you can do it on the app now. You don't have to come into the branch. It's like, oh, okay. And she showed me that.
It almost becomes an inconvenience when you have to go to the bank for something now. It's like, I'm used to doing everything on my phone.
Well, that's exactly how I felt. It felt like I was an inconvenience to the lady at the bank. It's just almost like, why are you coming in here? You can do it in the bank. Obviously, she was nicer than that. I mean, you can do it on the app.
I don't want to see your face. Go home.
Yeah. So then what happens when no one needs to be at the bank anymore because everything's done 100% in the app, right? And now we've got face scanning AI and everything, like Face ID type stuff. So, now they can just know that it's you by scanning your face on your phone, and you can do all your banking on your app, right?
Mm-hmm.
On your phone.
Yep.
So
look at retail.
Time goes by. How do you see the shift or the pivot for those people that are afraid of AI? Like, what can they do? Do they just deal with it and, go on welfare?
Just wait to be replaced.
To die, right? It's like,
I mean, you could do that if that's how you want to live your life. Sure. Just like wait for all of your money to go away when they're like, hey, you're no longer needed. Good luck. Or you could be proactive about it. And that's look at retail. Like I was just starting to say, that's how many people go and shop in stores nowadays. Like, when was the last time you were at a mall? These types of things are just less and less relevant in today's society. More and more people are going online. I just read a survey this morning that said 90% of shoppers believed they can find a better deal online than in a store. 90% of shoppers, dude.
That's me. So always look online. I always Google it. You've got the shopping tab on Google, right? And always see how much is it here? How much is it there? How much is it at a store? And, 99% of the time I'm buying it online.
There you go. You can't do a Google search for coupon codes when you're standing in the checkout line.
Yeah. So,
but that industry is still there. Obviously, there's a lot of people that have shifted out of it. Maybe they're doing retail online now. Maybe they've completely changed and they're not doing retail at all and they're doing something else entirely.
Yeah. Exactly. So then that kind of, brings everything back to the conversation we've been having, right? It's like the world is freaking changing and there's nothing we can do about it. And it's going at a really fast pace. And if we don't change our situation, our skills, our vision, like what we want to do for ourselves in the future, we're going to be left behind. We're going to be replaced. Like that is the truth. Like there's no sugarcoating it. We are going to be replaced. A lot of people
that's
will,
the harsh reality. If you're not growing, you're getting left behind.
Exactly. But there's options now, right? And it's like one of the things I learned not long ago was my dad used to have a manufacturing company that he did like kitchen granite bench tops and stuff. And I saw his business from he doesn't have it anymore, but when he first started it, like
I didn't know your dad had a business.
Yeah, he did. So he had no machinery.
Was he one of the reasons you got into this?
No, actually.
Got into starting your own business?
I was on the path of figuring out business before he got into that, just ideas and stuff and goals. And
I'm always curious about that. Like my dad had a business too.
Yeah.
It was a home healthcare company.
I'll come back to what I wanted to say, but
yeah.
I wanted to have a graphic design business and a web design business and just all these ideas that I had before he got into it. Getting into it also kind of helped me see how cool it is to be your own boss and that continue that journey of me wanting my business. This is in high school as well. This is way before I did anything online. But when I did something online, it was more because I just didn't want to be in a job anymore. I like the idea of working from home sounded cool, right? Not having to leave home. But through his business, right, when he started that business, they would they would cut stone and turn it into countertops. And they started with just handheld tools like angle grinders. They got the cutting discs and they have to measure. Obviously, they always have to measure things, but everything had to be done by hand. And then over time, as the business grew, he started buying machinery. I never forget the first machinery they got was like a big machine that had like a bed thing. And then they would put a slab of granite and you still have to like manually cut and measure, right? But, that was like that next step up. Now you didn't have to, have maybe 3 people cutting different parts of that top. And now it's one machinery. And then later there was other machinery that they bought. And then eventually they bought what's called a CNC machine, which is a fully programmable cutting machine. So now you just program the cuts that you want, press go, and then you can go and do something else, and the whole machine does the whole thing, right?
Yeah.
And
those things are mind blowing too, because that's become something that used to be just for big businesses, like your dad had, where you could only afford those or get those if you were a business owner. And now you can get a CNC machine that fits on your desk.
Wow. See, I didn't know that.
Yeah, dude. It's just like these, I don't know what the brand would be, but like a Cricut even, is kind of like that. It's cutting vinyl, but you could get a CNC that like does, let's say, etching or laser burning or whatever it might be to cut wood or plastic or leather.
Yeah, no, I have a friend. Now that you say that, I have a friend who actually has one in his garage, with it just like, it's still quite big, probably the size of my desk. But he cuts like just for fun, plastic and wood. He just not even
not selling it or anything.
So it's funny because during that whole process, and I'm only actually understanding it now through this conversation. It's not like I ever sat there and thought about it. But now that I'm sharing that, it's just like, okay, so everything started with people, everyone doing everything manually, right? Like no machinery. And then as machinery came in and the business grew with more and more and more machinery, the funny thing is most of those people that were there in the beginning, they didn't get replaced. They just had to learn new skills. So then they went from cutting with manually cutting things to now learning to use that machinery. And how do you cut it, and how do you program it, and how do you do that? And then the other people could do other things. And then new machinery came, and then those people would learn other machinery. And then those machineries would break down, or they needed to be serviced. And who would come to do the service? You call a company, and they send someone out to come fix the latest tech of a CNC cutting machine, right? And they're servicing it. So going to that conversation of AI and everything that's changing, things change. And in the jobs, the roles that we have, we can be replaced by machinery or AI. But we can also adapt. We can also, seek out, what's the direction this is all heading in, like in the next 10, 20 years, even if it's the next 5 years, depending on someone's age, right? If someone's like, say 80, 85, and they want to, I know, Papa Don, right? I think he's starting his online business at 73, and he learned digital marketing, which I thought was amazing. So even if you're 70,
older than that, I didn't feel like he was almost 80.
He's probably almost close to 80 now. Definitely over 75.
I did probably 24 calls with him.
Ah, awesome. So you were the secret behind his success, or part of it. Obviously, he had to do the work too, right? But
yeah, he still did all the recording, but everything behind the scenes I had to set up for him. So
but that's part of it too, right? It's just like,
absolutely,
if I don't know how to do something, and something,
you can always
new,
pay somebody to do it for you.
Who can I pay someone to help me do something for me, right?
Yep.
It's like,
I just had a call with somebody the other day on that too, that I was basically saying, I can either help teach you how to do this if you want to learn it and be able to do this for yourself in the future, or if this is something you have no interest in learning or no desire of ever doing for yourself, I can help you find somebody to outsource it to.
Yeah.
There's always that option.
That's a great conversation about outsourcing. Maybe that be for another time, but man, sometimes people go in the wrong direction with outsourcing, and they outsource everything. They have zero skills, and in the end, whatever they get back doesn't work, and they don't know why it doesn't work. So
you still need at least a working knowledge of it before you pay somebody else to do it for you.
Always.
Absolutely.
But going back to pivoting, right? It's like, if you're afraid of being replaced, just see where the direction of the world is going and find yourself a different place. Like, what new skills can you learn, right? Just because there's AI machinery, well, guess what? There's going to be people that need to service those AI machines. There's going to be people that have to program that AI. There's people that have to build it, design it. Obviously we're going here into the territory of engineering, but some people might not
learn how to build and repair robots.
Yeah. You don't have to go into that, right? It's like, figure out how can you use the new things and be willing to learn, because we have to change. We have to grow. Right? Everything's constantly changing, right? And if we don't change, there's going to be a lot of friction in our lives, because when you're trying for everything to remain exactly the same way it is for you right now, but everything else is changing fast, like I've been there before. I used to be a person that I didn't like change at all, right? But then things just get frustrating and hard, and not
because
good.
It makes you try to control things that are outside of your control, and that never ends well.
Yeah, exactly. So then it's like, we've discussed in the beginning of this conversation crypto, right? And maybe a lot of people were like, well, should I get into crypto and stuff? I wanted to cover this when we had that conversation. I don't recommend crypto for someone that's getting started. Like, it is very, stressful. But the thing is, a lot of people try to go into crypto and they'll spend $100, $500, right? And I'm going to get rich from that, right? Yeah. But the thing is, any sort of investing, whether it's crypto, property, right? ETFs, whatever it is, you have to have money. You have to have cash. You have to have an income that, as that money's coming in, then as a secondary thing, you can start investing, right? Because for a lot of people, they have jobs, and putting the whole things are changing in AI, you got to find yourself roles. You just figure out how to make more money, because most people, they're in a job and they're earning a paycheck and they're not earning enough to live. Right. They're just surviving, not thriving. I've been there. I'm sure you've been there, right? But it's like, you got to figure out, how can you increase your income? I think that's a good question. If anyone asks themselves,
it's not going to be usually as fast and easy as you think or want it to be. I want to piggyback on this kind of crypto thing you were saying, because I was just talking to my wife about this. Like Bitcoin, okay? Bitcoin, obviously, it just like rocketed up after the election. Lots of things happened in the last month or so where it's shot up pretty significantly. But it's really like, it's not as big as you think unless you have a lot of money in it, right? So if you had, let's say, I don't know, you bought $1,000 when Bitcoin was back at like 25,000, which was a lot of like last year, 2023. It was right in that range, right? If it hits 100K now, you've tripled your money, maybe quadrupled it. You put $5,000 or $500 in, it turns into 1,500, maybe 2,000 in a year and a half. You're not going to be super rich from that, if you had a lot of money in it, you put, let's say, 50 grand in, it could turn into 150 or 200. That's a little bit more significant. But who has $50,000 that are just going to leave sitting in Bitcoin and be not stressed out about it? Knowing that it could go up or down. Yeah. You're just going to sit there and not look at it for a year. Yeah. So I think that's a big misconception. A lot of people that are playing with these meme coins, like you were saying earlier, the Hawk Tuah coin or Doge or whatever, they'll jump a little bit, but the people that are doing that are taking huge risks usually in order to actually get rich with it. They'll put their entire life savings on it, which they could lose or double in the same time frame.
And that's the people that are gambling as well. Like,
it's 100% gambling. Yeah.
Not the people that are doing it wisely, because like that was a great example you gave. Like if you put $50,000 when Bitcoin was at $25,000 a coin. And some people are probably tuning out because of the maths here, but ignore the maths. But if you put $50,000, a few months ago, and now it's $200,000. Okay, that's great. That's a good win. It's not anyway, this isn't a crypto conversation, but there's a point we're going to come back to. But that's great. But it's not if that's all that person had, the $50,000. Like that's a huge risk that person will most likely lose it if they're not making the right decisions now to just sell all of it, at least, right?
Yeah.
But the people that will invest $50,000 to kind of have that result are the people that, to them, $50,000 is nothing, right? So, if let's use a more realistic, relatable example. If someone's earning, let's just say $30,000 a year, okay, that's whatever currency that is, Australia, US, it's not a huge number. Mm-hmm. If you're like, okay, I'm going to put $10 into Bitcoin, you could probably afford to lose $10. Could you afford to lose $10, Drew? I mean, you could probably afford to lose much more, but the average person, do you think they could afford to lose $10?
Most likely, yeah. Most people waste more than that in their daily lives anyway, buying stuff they don't need or paying for subscriptions they're not using.
And if it quadruples to $80, is that a good win for the average person? Could they take out?
Yeah, then you can fill your gas tank that week.
Or maybe you could take your family out for a dinner, right?
A cheap dinner, maybe.
But
not in Connecticut. You can't go out with a family for $80.
Yeah. But if someone's earning $30,000, they probably couldn't go out for dinner. Maybe not even to McDonald's, right? As an example. So okay, it's extra, but that is the exact same thinking stretched to a much bigger scale. Where if you're earning $30,000 and you're like, great, I'm going to take $50,000 out of my mortgage, put it into Bitcoin, and just hope that I'm going to quadruple it, right? Yeah. That's a wrong strategy, and that's going to end up losing money. Whereas someone because
it's gambling again. It's not predictable. It's not repeatable. You're gambling.
Yeah, exactly. Whereas the person that's doing it wisely invests $50,000, they've probably got, $5 million in the bank, which for them, $50,000 is nothing. It's like for the average person who's putting in $20. For him, it's like putting in 20, or her, it's like, it's putting in $20. It's a risk that they're willing to take. So this is like a warning in some ways. It's like for the people that are, looking at crypto and they're like, I think this is going to be my strategy to, creating income for my family, creating a different life. There's actually a different reality to that where you got to put a lot more money into that game to make it work. And most people don't make it work because of that. Now, there is a small percentage, like 0.001% of people will get lucky, but most people are going to lose their money. So the strategy for anyone that actually wants to even if you do want to get into crypto and investing, my recommendation is always number one, create a cash cow, right? Build a cash cow, something that's going to bring in money and money and money to you consistently, that you can grow, that you have control over. And my recommendation is a business, especially online, right? That you can do from home. And business is not hard, right? I mean, Drew, you teach it, I teach it. Right? You just got to find, if you want to create your own product, which we don't even recommend for a beginner, but if you want to make money in business as creating your own product, you just got to find a problem in the marketplace. What problem do a lot of people have? And then you create a product that solves that problem, step 2. And then step 3, you figure out how to sell it to those people. And you can make a lot of money. All right. We teach.
Literally all it is. As an entrepreneur, you're a problem solver.
Exactly. Obviously, that's simplified too, but that's all it takes. And you have control of that. If there's a good problem out there, the product is great at solving that problem and you know how to market the heck out of it and sell that thing, then you can make money, right? What's the other strategy we recommend for a beginner? Affiliate marketing, right? And how does that translate into affiliate marketing, Drew?
How does it translate? Well, you don't need your own products. First of all, that's the biggest thing with affiliate marketing. You're not creating any of your own products. You get to sell somebody else's product that's already been proven. They already tell you who it's for and what problem it solves. And you just have to be the middleman to get that offer in front of those correct people. And the sales happen by themselves.
Exactly.
That's really the easiest way to describe it. It's something that plays into our kind of, I guess, need to be social or to have companionship in our lives. We all love to recommend things. We recommend restaurants we've been to. We recommend movies that we've seen or TV shows for other people. And that's literally what affiliate marketing is built off of. It's built on the shoulders of recommending.
So it's the simplest way for people to get started. It's existed forever, since business ever existed. You know, I use an example that if you go back 2,000 years ago, right? If you were the kid and your dad had his own business, most likely one of the jobs he would have or businesses would be a merchant. And then they would go, you know, you said bye to your dad on his like horse and carriage, and he would go to, you know, to another country in the Middle East or wherever, right? To go find
on his horse and carriage, probably the next town over, not another country.
No, but sometimes people
He's
will go
going to be gone for months or years.
But yes, it would happen. And then the kids wouldn't see him for 6 months, and then he'd come back and he'd go to Egypt and come back to Greece or wherever it is, and the kids would be like, "Dad's back," and they'd see all the, like, look at all the stuff I got at, you know, like all the exotic, you know, the silks and the
that was what was in my mind too, silks and spices when you were saying that.
No, but that's exactly what happened, right? And all the new foods you've never tasted and spices and right and then, you know, he'd be there and then he'd had friends and be like, "Hey, you know, let me, you know, that's awesome. I love these spices. You know, if I bring customers to you, will you give me a cut? Will you give me, you know, some silver coins out of whatever the exactly." And it's always been the same concept from the beginning of time of business, right? And that's what we recommend to get started, because it's simple. You're just recommending products. You're just focusing on that one skill that you have to develop, which is the marketing side of things. You don't have to figure out who's the target audience, what product you have to create, spend months creating it. And going back to that point that I had, it's like you want to build a cash cow in the beginning, right? I know Bitcoin's exciting right now. It's 100,000. Who knows? By the time maybe we release this episode, it might have crashed. Maybe it'll be higher. We don't know. But it always, you know, if that world is exciting, but if you don't have a cash cow that you can control, that you can make money and grow that income and get to 5,000, 10,000 a month, 20, you know, 50,000, 100,000 a month, right? No income claims here, because, you know, I'm just sharing some incomes of what are possible, right? But whatever that is, it's like if you don't have that ability to that you can control to make an income, there's no point in investing, right? Because once you have that income, you'll get to the point where you've got the house that you want, you've got the car that you want, your kids maybe are in the school that you want to have them in. Maybe it's a private, you know, school or whatever. You can pay your kids' college fees, and then you've got all this extra cash that you're like, well, what do I do with it now? Now you can start playing that game of investing, right? You can start investing in property, which is safer. You know, you can invest it in index funds, which is safer than investing it into individual stocks. You know, that would be my recommendation initially, but then you can have a little bit, you know, maybe like 2% of your total investing, like money that you have from your business, into cryptos to start playing around and doing some of that gambling things. But if you don't have that cash cow yet, it doesn't make sense, right?
Absolutely. So, instead of speculating and gambling and guessing with the market, trying to get rich, why not play into this age-old philosophy of helping people solve problems and build your income steadily so that you can take the guesswork out of it?
Exactly.
It's much less of a gamble.
Totally. And yeah, it's all just willingness to learn something new and take action on that, right? And then later you can focus on all those things, which, by the way, most people that don't have that strategy of cash cow and invest into, have an investment portfolio, most people that just gamble in the investing thing, they're not going to succeed because they don't have that right strategy. I have a personal example. So I know someone close that they spent their entire lives, not gambling, but through the lottery, right? Spending money on the lottery. And then at the end of their lives, they don't have anything to show for it, right? Everything's gone, right? No money, no savings, no money in their mortgage. They owe money to the bank and they got nothing left, right? Their entire life. And that sort of, it's pretty sad to see because, when you spend your entire life working and you're still hoping, you're gambling your money, you're not making those wise decisions, and you get to retirement, you got no money, but you're still trying to figure out how you can buy that next lottery, next lottery ticket. It's just, man, that's a lot of people that are just thinking that they're going to get rich and lucky through crypto right now. Unfortunately, going to end up in that situation when they retire. And it's probably going to be
the same thing. Same thing as like buying scratch offs or buying lottery tickets. You don't know what's on the other side of that. You don't know if you're going to make anything at all. So why put all of your faith, I guess, in something that you can't control?
Totally. Exactly. That's where you got to start. Something you can control. So, Drew, this is an interesting conversation. I didn't know where it was going to go. I think we covered a lot of ground. But
you never do when we sit down for these things.
Yeah. But you know what? Anyone that's still listening, we have something big that's coming up. And I don't know if you guys might even be wondering. Some people are watching this and thinking, oh, okay, cool. I know Drew. I know Alex. Some people probably, especially because this is on my podcast, some people are probably like, well, who is this guy? And that Drew and I, we teamed up together recently to be able to launch. We just want to share a little bit about this. And I think, Drew, we should do another episode, man, just going over it more, the program.
Less crypto talk.
Less crypto talk, let's political talk, let's AI talk. But,
it's all relevant, but absolutely. Yeah.
Just in brief, right? So I've been in online business since 2011. Drew, I think, once 14.
Yeah, I started this journey in about 2013. I still had my real estate agency at the time. I was still working in the legal field too. So it was basically, I started getting into it to promote my real estate agency. That's what kind of brought me into the online space. I didn't go full time into it till about 2015.
But you still started, it's still, digital marketing skills.
Oh, I started back in college even. Let's say I had a blog in high school, dude. I was on the golf team in high school. So I signed up for a ClickBank account. I created a blog, sell golfing shit. This was let's say, I don't know, 2004, 2005, something like that. And I never made any money. I made absolutely nothing with that blog. Nothing. Then I started trying to get into e-commerce. I created a business when I was in college where I was selling digital products. I probably made $3,000 to $5,000 with that altogether. And then I didn't discover affiliate marketing until about 2015.
2015.
Which is when things really started to change for me during that 2015, 16. I got to the point like you were saying where you have one of those days that you just make 10 grand or 20 grand in a day. And when you're used to doing 3 to 5 grand a month, doing that in the day is crazy. It definitely changes your perspective on the whole thing. But
yeah.
It's life-changing when you can get to that level, but it wasn't something that happened quickly or easily for me. That's the piece that a lot of people miss. It was that kind of gradual grind where I was trying new things for 10 years before I found something that clicked with me. And then it's just a matter of becoming the best that you can in that specific digital space, you know?
Totally. No, I get that. It's for some people it could take a while, but it also comes down to like, do you have the right education? Do you have the right guidance? Do you have the right mentorship? Because for me, also trying to, figure out the online thing as well. Although when I got started, it was a network marketing company, I made a good income, but I never really learned real skills, like digital marketing skills. A lot of it was just throwing spaghetti at the wall and seeing what sticks. In fact, that's how they actually taught it. Throw spaghetti at the wall and see what sticks. Never learn more skills, get good at influencing and never got taught that.
Get better at copywriting, get better at speaking, get better at creating content.
Exactly. Right. Better ads, so better messaging. So as soon as I got mentorship, like I'll never forget, I hired a coach. He'd built a 7-figure, 8-figure company. He actually worked with one of the companies you worked in 2015. Drew, with that's a story for another, what happened with that company for another time. Oh, yeah. But he actually trained at that company as well. And when I had that coaching session, it was just like, for the first time ever, I got so clear on what I needed to do. I was overcomplicating things. I had way too many. I'd set up all these websites, funnels, all these things I didn't need, all these strategies. And I was so overwhelmed. And when you're so overwhelmed, you cannot figure out what to even do. Right. And having that mentor, that first mentorship session I had with him cleared everything up. If I remember correctly, I think I made $10,000 2 weeks, 2 or 3 in the first month after that one strategy session, right? Made a huge difference. And then that was kind of although I'd made money online, but that kind of was that next level of just really figuring things out. And if he wasn't
interesting that you kind of, I didn't piece this together myself either, but 2015 is when I started actually learning from other people who were successful online.
There you go.
So I think that's that's when my trajectory changed too. I had been dabbling basically up until that point.
Exactly. And a lot of people do, right? They start, they're like, what's this online business, affiliate marketing? Let me buy like a $3 course, $7 course, maybe $100 course, $300 course, but it's like they haven't truly decided to make it work, right? It's just dabbling, seeing what's out there. But once you truly decide that, okay, I'm going to figure this out and I'm going to look for help and truly start learning, that's when things start changing, because a dabbler is always going to remain a dabbler. Right?
And then your business will pay like a dabbler.
Yeah, your business will pay like a dabbler, absolutely. But if you decide, okay, I want to master this, because if I master online business, digital marketing, affiliate marketing, whatever that strategy is going to be, then there's no dabbling anymore. It's a different mindset. It's like, I am going to learn this. I'm going to seek help. I am going to seek mentorship, and I'm going to make it work, because
you're taking ownership of it is really the big thing.
That's it. It's taking ownership. Because you know that if you don't take ownership, you're not going to create that income. You're not going to get out of that situation you're in. You're not going to be able to send your kids to the school that you want to, or pay their college, or have more amazing experiences with them. It all starts with just making that commitment. So coming back to online, I think
that's really true with any skill too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? I don't want to get off topic, but like that would be the same thing if you were learning a foreign language or learning a new instrument. If you, let's say, just practice it like willy-nilly once every week or once every 2 weeks, you're never going to get really, really good at it. You know, you got to take ownership of it and be like, hey, this is what I really want to do. This is what I want to master. And I'm going to put in the time and the effort and the energy and the discipline to make myself successful. Right?
Yeah, totally. And you got to know why, right? Because if you're gonna learn to play the piano, right? A lot of people, they know that their why is, well, I want to show off and I want to play piano in front of my family and friends, and I want them to go, wow, he can play the piano, right? That's kind of that ultimate outcome. Or I want to learn a language. Why do I want to learn a language? You know, because I'm going to go to that country one day and I want to be able to communicate, right? Or I want to do business in that country, right? There's always an ultimate outcome. It's not just, I just want to make money, right? Like what's that ultimate outcome that's money is going to do for you in your life? How's it going to impact your life? How's it going to change your life?
Flow through you into something. That's why it's called currency.
Yeah.
I love that analogy. Like water, currents. Waters have currents. It's made to flow. Yeah. Money's the same thing. It's got to flow through you. It can't just stagnate for you to be like, I want to be Scrooge McDuck and stockpile money to swim in every day. I mean, I guess you could. That could be a solid why if you're like, I finally have enough to dive into a kiddie pool.
Oh my God, dude. Have you seen that? Like, I don't know if you've seen. It's interesting because if you look up on YouTube, Scrooge McDuck money lessons, I never remember this, but apparently he actually taught real money principles in that show. And I saw it in YouTube or a reel, and I listened to it. I'm like, oh wow, this is actually real advice about money. And like, anyway, it was very interesting. So it's funny you said that.
I'll have to check that out now.
Yeah, no, definitely. It's really, really cool. So anyway,
I just remember this scene where he's like swimming through gold coins. That's all I keep thinking of.
Well, that's what I thought of as well. When I was like, normally until I saw that, I was just blown away. But anyway, like Drew, I mean, we partnered up, man, because one of the things we've noticed in the industry, everything we've discussed, but one of the biggest things is that overwhelm, right? In online business, where it's just too much information, too much technical stuff. And it's just like information.
Noise.
A lot of noise, right? Absolutely. And we've both, we've both had a lot of success. We've both struggled. We've both been overwhelmed. But we figured it out, and we realized that a lot of things out there in terms of education, online businesses, it's just way too overcomplicated. It's either way too overcomplicated and too noisy, or it's just they're not giving you enough information, right? They're still trying to make you figure out on your own. So we partnered up to
steps intentionally.
Exactly. So we partnered up to launch a new mentorship program where we're going to help affiliate marketers to finally be able to simplify their online business. And we'll cover this another time, but we figured out a process to simplify it so much where you don't even need to have any websites, any funnels. You don't even have to have any email marketing, because I know a lot of people, they get stuck at the technical side of things, right? If you can set up a business in 90 minutes or less, in fact, you'll probably, for most people to figure things out, like no technical stuff, get started, promoting a product, someone else's product within the first day. I mean, it's powerful. And we've got a new framework, a brand new social selling system that we have that we're going to mentor people one-on-one. Okay. A lot of programs out there is just like, buy this course, and then all you do is watch videos, right? There's like, where do you ask? How do you get support? How do you get direct feedback? Sometimes you just have to jump on that one group coaching call per week to have your things reviewed. But what about that time?
And hope you actually get chosen. Yeah.
And hope you actually get chosen. Yeah. Well, you're 100 people on that call and only 5 people can get chosen, right? But what about when you're up late at night, working on your business, setting things up, creating some content after your job, and you have a question, like a pressing question in that moment? You got to wait 6 days to get on that group coaching call. And by then you don't even want to get on it, or you don't get chosen. So we've created...
You probably forgot the problem by that point too.
Yeah, exactly. Well, there's like, yeah. So we created a mentorship program to actually walk people through and mentor them to building, the business that they want, right? To being able to generate leads and commissions online fast with a really simple strategy. And Drew, I mean, is there anything you want to share about it, man?
All kinds of things. I'm excited for this new opportunity too. Just after all of the experience that I've had with other businesses, there are so many just gaps and holes in their training and in their support, and I don't see that as, obviously it's not going to be we're all of it, but like we're not trying to do what you were saying. We don't have this quick little training that we're just pumping hundreds of thousands of people through and trying to make money for ourselves. We actually want people who are serious about getting results. They're not gamblers. They're not dabblers. They're somebody that wants real support and real guidance and real structure to get them from where they are to conversation. But really just everything so simplified. It's people science, basically, right? We are people. Everybody else, like all of your customers are people. So if you don't understand how to talk to them and deal with them, you're going to leave money on the table. And that's something that we're definitely crossing the bridge on here. But simplification, no tech, just messaging, really all you need. If you can talk to people, you can do this with our support.
So you said, like you mentioned that strategy of just pumping thousands of people through a course to buy it.
Oh God, I've seen it so many times.
So there is such, like, I love automation to a degree, but at such huge scale, right? When people are just going through automation and stuff, for the company, it's great because they make millions of dollars. For the top affiliates, it's great because they're making, hundreds of thousands, millions of dollars. And usually, they've really learned skills and some complex skills as well, right? Like obviously the websites, funnels, email marketing, like there's a lot more to it to get to that. But then the people that are the real beginners, they tend to struggle because now they have to set up all these complicated stuff. And then they have to learn, like automated strategies. Because when you have automated strategies, now you have to figure out, do you create webinars to convert sales? Do you have to do Facebook or Instagram lives, right? Like there's all these additional complex stuff that has to go, that have to go through. But when you really look at it as a business, like any business, right? If you go to the mall, right? Go into a mall and you have a personal, like someone there that's going to help you, right? You build a relationship with them, they're asking questions, and then you end up buying something, right? That they're not sending thousands of people through an automated system to make those sales, right? So for someone that's getting started, having a really simple system that doesn't involve all that complicated, tech, that literally you can have someone reach out to you and be like, hey, John, hey, Jenny, I want to learn about your product. Can you share more? And you give them information and they go, great, I want to buy this. Awesome. All it takes is one person to do that and you've made $500 commission, $1,000 commission, $2,000 commission, right? Only one person. But then with this whole automated thing, that relationship aspect of it gets lost for beginners because it can work at scale when you have thousands of people going through, but for the beginner, it mostly it's not going to work, right? Because they're focusing on thousands of people going through these things, but how they haven't even learned the relationship building aspect of it. So we have
a different strategy. They're like, basically throwing spaghetti at the wall, but they have a lot of spaghetti, so it works.
Exactly right. So it's like when you eliminate, all that extra stuff and just come down to what's those basics to make that one sale. It simplifies things so much. And when you make your first sale, you can quickly make a second sale and your third sale and your fourth sale, right? And so on. I've had coaching clients that within 2 weeks of this strategy, they've made their first sale, right? Multiple times. It's just so powerful. So we're excited to share more.
I love getting those testimonials when people implement it and they get their first commission. when you earn your first ever commission online is really when that perspective is going to change. That's when it becomes real for you.
Oh yeah.
Not just real for everybody else, but real for you.
And it only has to be that $1. Right? You said that when you're into small. Some people are just like, I just want to earn my first $10,000. And some people earn the first $1 and they're like, why haven't I earned $10,000? The thing is, like, once you've made that first dollar, remember that we're going to share more, right? If you do want to learn more now, we're open to sharing more. If just feel free to reach out to me, send me a DM on Facebook or Instagram. My handle is Alex Ford Live, or you can just type Alex Ford into either one of those platforms. If you know Drew, send him a DM. Drew, where's better to contact you? Instagram, Facebook?
Either one. Yeah, either one. It's just a personal brand on Facebook, so Drew Kairos. But my personal brand is Mr. Drusov, which is
awesome,
kind of a nickname.
Awesome. So feel free to reach out to us, because this mentorship program, it's powerful. We can share more details about it. You're going to have direct access to us. You can ask us any questions at any time. We'll respond as well within 24 hours. And you're going to get the support that you need to be able to build your business. We will be happy to share those details once you watch this, but also stick around. Subscribe to this podcast, subscribe to the YouTube channel, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you're watching or listening, because I think we are going to do another episode where we'll go deeper into the actual program. I think today was great. Like, get to know Drew, and just know that we're doing something big and it's going to be great. Like, Drew has coached more than 10,000 people, 10,000 sessions he's done, right? I've built an amazing business that's helped set me and my family free, right? Made a lot of income, impacted a lot of lives as well. We know how this works, and we know a lot of what doesn't work, which is just as important, because we are going to make sure we don't teach you what doesn't work, and we're just going to walk you through to actually be able to make your business profitable. And often it's just one tweak that you need in your business, which a lot of people just don't see it. It's like one single session, one single tweak, and you could be converting sales. Maybe you are creating content, maybe you are running ads, maybe you are generating leads, but you're not making sales, right? And just that one single tweak, shift, strategy that you have to implement can start generating those consistent sales, all right? And stick around, because this is going to be just an incredible journey. That awesome. So
it was, always is. Thank you, sir, for having on.
Awesome. It's great having you on, man. And all right, talk to you soon.
Thanks for tuning in to the Alex Ford Podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to visit alexfordpodcast.com for more free resources on how to build a 6 or 7-figure online business and turn your digital marketing dream into a profitable and rewarding full-time career. And if you love this podcast, remember to subscribe and follow Alex on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram.